You're listening to the Full Court Press with your host, Drew Duncan. Don't you dare touch that dial.
Who doesn't love the Fresh Prince, man? Who doesn't love that theme, dude? If you don't have the lyrics of this song memorized, then I don't know what to tell you. We're going to have to do a quick review of your childhood. I mean, seriously. And the beat's actually not that bad. As simple as it is, it's really it's kind of dope. Like, for real. I'm just saying. Florida Atlantic, Lane Kiffin making his debut tonight. He's going to be taking on Navy for the first game of his head coaching stint with the Owls. Another notable man with the Florida Atlantic Owls was one Howard Schnellenberger, the only coach in history to finish undefeated in bowl games, coached the youngest team ever in history to a bowl victory. That was actually while he was at Florida Atlantic. Matter of fact, Howard Schnellenberger took over that team from the day one of the inception of having a football team there. Took him immediately from a Division II school to a Division I team. When I interviewed him, he called it the greatest accomplishment of his career. And that's saying something considering the fact that he was the first coach to take Miami to a national title. Starting a dynasty that lasted 20 years, essentially, folks. From 1983 to 2003, nobody won more national titles than Miami Hurricanes, period. He was there to greet one Lane Kiffin when he showed up, and I'm telling you what, the look on his face was real. Kiffin may have been all smiles, but I'm telling you right now, Howard Schnellenberger takes what goes on down there in Florida seriously. And I know he does because I asked him about a Florida Atlantic game against Florida not too long ago. And he said, nope, they beat them up and down. If this and this and this would have happened, it would have been a statistical win as well. I mean, he cut me off in the middle of the question, period. He takes it very seriously. I think he looks at it like it's still a part of him and his legacy. And maybe that's something that Lane Kiffin should be more concerned about. Other than saying things like, yeah, if I was still at Alabama as an offensive coordinator, I would guarantee you we'd win another national title. Dude, are you serious right now? I appreciate your honesty, but this is already the beginning of things that people didn't like in Tennessee. This is already the beginning of things that people didn't like at USC. Now he's going down there to Florida. He gets asked a question, and he says, yeah, if I was at Alabama, undoubtedly, I know that we would win a national title this year. Dude, aren't you focused on Florida? If I was asked a question like that, and I'm the new Florida Atlantic coach, and I'm trying to make another name for myself, and I've got all this stuff that has happened before where people were writing things in graffiti about me that nobody liked, the words out of my mouth wouldn't be, hey man, if I was there, I know we win a national title. The words out of my mouth would be, you know what, I'm not really worried about that right now. Thank you, Nick Saban in Alabama, for everything that you guys did for me. Obviously, I wish you guys the best of luck unless you play my Florida Atlantic Owls. But in the meantime, I've got a job to do down here. That would be my words. Maybe I'm wrong for that. I don't know. I just feel like that's the direction that Lane Kiffin should be going in right now. Instead, he's worried about whether or not Alabama would be a national champion if he was there. Obviously, he's thought about it. That's the only reason why he was able to respond the way that he was. Because he has clearly thought about, if I was still at Alabama, I bet I'd have another ring on my finger. I bet I would. Absolutely, I would. How about you worry about the Florida Atlantic Owls defense that gave up over 500 yards a game last year, bro? Why don't we start there? Okay? Why don't you start worrying about an offense that ranked number 72 in the entire country a season ago, and a team that for the third year in a row only won 3 games? 3, guys. You want to know who those wins were over? Southern Illinois, Rice, and UTEP. Folks, Kansas State beat Florida Atlantic last year 63-7. You can't be serious right now. You're really worried about whether or not Alabama would win another title if you were there? Well, Mr. Reporter, I'm kind of going to go beast mode on here and just want to thank you for your concern. Thank you for that question. That's not what I'm focused on right now. I am worried about Florida Atlantic football. Because it doesn't matter if the rest of that quote is there in some way. Because the portion that says, but yeah, if I was there, we would win a national title, shouldn't be there in the first place. This is the arrogant attitude that got him ran out of Tennessee. That's exactly how it happened. This is deja vu all over again. I feel like we're still in the same place, Lane. Okay, why don't you stay in your lane, bro? See what I did there? He brought in his brother, Chris Kiffin, and he's going to try and do a lot of different things, I think, on both sides of the football. But Navy is a team that, as obvious as their game planning is, they're so consistent and so proficient at what they do that they have a very good chance of beating this football team. I don't think that there is a better team in the country outside of potentially Georgia Tech that runs that wing option any better. I really don't believe it. Not Army. Air Force doesn't really do it a whole lot anymore. To an extent they do, but they've always been known for more of a passing game. They've kind of gotten back to that, but I don't think there's a team better than Navy at what they do on offense. Florida Atlantic is a team whose returning quarterback, Jason Driscoll, only threw for 2,400 yards last year and 9 touchdowns. 9, folks. Here's a little bit of additional news for you. In games that they won with Rice and UTEP in Illinois, they did good. They scored 45, 35, and 38. And they did okay against Middle Tennessee. They dropped 56, but they also gave up 77 points. This is a team that gave up on average 37 points a game, guys. Lane Kiffin has got a hell of a road to haul. And sure, he's not exactly in the most loved or respected conference in the world, Conference USA. But he is going to play Navy, and then he's going to be at Wisconsin on September the 9th, guys. But yeah, if he was at Alabama, though, they'd win another national title. Dude, you have got to focus on Florida Atlantic, man. And the thing about it is this guy has always had great mentors. His dad, Monty Kiffin, who engineered the Tampa 2 defense with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl, who actually went with him to USC. He convinced him to come out of retirement to go down there and coach with him on defense. So at the bare minimum, he's always had his dad around. Then he was under Nick Saban for a really long time. Now he's got Howard Schnellenberger down there. I don't know, man. You know what I want to see Lane Kiffin do? My thing with Lane Kiffin is low key, bro. Mellow out. Keep everything on the low. Keep everything in house. Don't answer questions about Alabama. Don't feed into it. Because your primary objective and concern, and one and only, should be making a Florida Atlantic a decent football team. Because I got to tell you, I think that part of this had to do with potentially Coach Howard Schnellenberger. I really believe that. And you got a guy like Nick Saban who probably also put his neck out for you. Guys like that who are saying, okay, we'll give this kid a shot. Believe me when I tell you, you don't want to cross them, man. You just don't want to go down there and make a mess of things. If anything happens like what happened in Tennessee, I am telling you right now, this dude will never see a head coaching position, potentially ever again, but at least for 10 to 15 years. I briefly pointed it out yesterday. I'm talking about Josh McDaniels type opportunity here, bro. You're going to get one shot, and then after that, you're back to being an offensive coordinator. Period. He is how old and has had how many head coaching positions already? How much longer can the name Kiffin really carry this dude? Because after a while, you have to start thinking to yourself, this is what it is. It's your last name that's getting you where you want to go, man. So at some point, he's going to have to make his own name. And maybe that's why he's the way he is. You know, hell, I don't know. Maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder. Maybe he doesn't want people to think that he's everything Monty Kiffin is. Who knows? You know, you never know what's going on in somebody's mind completely. You never really know. I do know this. If I'm asked if Alabama wins the national title this year, if you're there, my answer is, thank you for that question. I think Alabama's going to do great things. I'm really rooting for those guys. Got to know those kids on a really great level. Obviously, I won't wish them luck if they're going to play Florida Atlantic. Outside of that, hats off to them, but I've got a job to do down here. I'm worried about these kids, my new team. That's my responsibility. I've got something that I've got to get started here. Because I believe that Howard Schnellenberger may have, visions of grandeur that Lane Kiffin will be able to take this team out of a Conference USA and put them somewhere where they could be eligible to win a title. Howard Schnellenberger is the same guy that wants to have 64 teams in a playoff. So there you go. I'm not saying that that's what he wants, but I am saying that that could be a possibility of what he thinks. That's all I'm saying. This is the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. I'm on Twitter at DrewDuncan83. I'm on Facebook at DrewDuncan83. And I'm on Instagram at DrewDuncan83. Still to come on this program, a lot to get to. The Oklahoma State win last night. Big 12 football is looking pretty good so far. We're going to be talking about Ezekiel Elliott, the appeal that is going through now. We'll probably have a final decision come Monday. We'll be bringing that up as well. Additionally, we're going to be talking a little bit about high school football here locally going on in town. Patrick Mahomes, is he the future of this football team? Does Alex Smith, are his days numbered? We'll be talking about that as well. So there's a lot to get to, guys. So get your comments in. Andrew Duncan 83 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are KYOM 95.9 Wichita, Kansas, doing business as KSUN Radio, your community radio station. We'll be back right after this. Don't you dare touch that dial.